Okay, so we're here on the podcast for Cabri to give me a lecture. Is that what we're doing here today?
We are.
Okay,
Mind
so
you, I didn't even know what the lecture was about
I
until
know, but
just,
you're prepared to give me a lecture, right?
oh, it's duh.
Okay. All right, good. This is why we have a good relationship. So, okay, so I want to just like spill a little bit of story, and there will be a picture that will accompany this if you go to proorganizerstudio.com/links. You can see this photo. We'll probably put it up on social media too. But I had an epiphany this weekend, and I have a lot of growth that I need to do. And so, every once in a while I look around and I talk to organizers all the time and I give people advice all the time. And sometimes I don't take my own advice. Do you have this problem too, or is it just me? I know I'm not alone.
No, I mean, I think we all probably have this problem to some extent, but no, I'm gonna yell at you whenever we
Okay.
finally get to
No,
this.
that's good. Okay. So here's the story. I am, like I said, working on myself. I am very aware of my shortcomings, one of which is I very much am a people pleaser. I am an Enneagram 2, hard Enneagram 2. One of my favorite things, I've talked about this before. It was an Instagram that says Enneagram 2 gets kidnapped, and the Enneagram 2 is, "Hey, Mr. Kidnapper, you seem really tired. Do you want a snack? I have a snack in my bag." Like that is me to a T. So I'm like, what can I do for you? And one of the things that I really have believed has been very good for my business and it has gotten me a lot of business and has gotten me a lot of happy clients is also sometimes my shortcoming. I am a big believer that you say yes and then you kind of figure things out. Okay. But yes can go like way too far. And the epiphany that I had this weekend was I was staring down a garage full. I'm very thankful. I have a giant garage. I'm very appreciative that when we picked this house, it came with a really great garage. Okay. But the bad thing about that garage is it can just hold a lot of crap. And so, what has happened in my organizing career a few times is that I will just say, "Oh, I'll take it, I'll hold it for you." Or it could just go in my garage or whatever. And in this particular case, I have a long-term client. I have talked about her probably on this podcast. I've talked about her in Inspired Organizer many times. Long-term client that I'm going to be honest with you, I have babied. I have babied and I have blurred the lines so much that I like the only word I can use for it is codependence, which is probably not the right word, but like maybe
But you've created that relationship with her.
100%. Like
Yeah.
I will just handle it. Do not worry about it. You don't have to think about it. I will take care of it. And so that is how I found myself. By the way, this is an important part of the story. She is the only client that I have ever had that I begged to get a storage unit, not get rid of one, but to get one because she would refuse to give away anything. She would never want me to call. She would never, but I'm like, there is no more room here. Okay. So I was like, could we please get a storage unit? And I will move some of your things that you're not really using as much in there. Well, guess what happened? That storage unit needed to be cleared out. Ask me where it went.
I'm gonna assume this very large garage that you have.
Very large garage, which, by the way, is not infinitely sized. Okay. It is not a 17 car garage. It has an end to its ability to store things, including the cars that we need to park there because I live in Minnesota and it snows and stuff. So, anyway, I found myself this weekend staring at a giant garage full of my clients' crap that had been, that, yeah, I call it crap. It's crap. Stuff that has been sitting in a storage unit for 2+ years, hasn't been touched. I had to clear it out and it landed in my garage. And I was really resentful.
Can I ask how long has it actually been in the garage?
It's been there since mid-January. That's what I mean. It's been there for a while. And here's why. In my defense, one, have been super busy, just was like, I'm just going to put it in there and I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to think about it until the spring because
Yeah.
my garage is not, it's not climate controlled, so it's cold out there. And the second thing is that I didn't have a burning platform, right? Like it could just sit there, but it was starting to get in my way. So I would pull the car in and I'd be like, oh, I gotta move this like bag of clothing and I gotta like this box of kitchen stuff. And I was just like, I just really got mad. And I got mad at myself for allowing it to happen. I got frustrated with my client, which is not fair because I set the boundaries and I set the rules, but I did get annoyed at her. Then I got annoyed at myself again, and I just said, "I created this entire situation.
Mhm.
I did it to myself because."
Unfortunately.
Yes. And I just said I had this moment where I said, "I can't do this anymore." And by the way, I have a million things. It's not okay, so my garage, the junk guy came today. My garage is looking amazing right now, right? Like amazing. I'm so happy. But guess what? My front closet has a bunch of client stuff that I've just never really dealt with.
Same
Uh,
client or a different client?
Totally different client. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally different client. But like I have these little reminders of my business that have infiltrated my home.
Mhm.
And so, really, just I want to come on here and say, first of all, if you think that Cabri and I do everything perfectly in our businesses, we do not. We do not. None of us are doing things perfectly. But I also just want to give people the permission to like, you, you're able to say no. And I'm terrible at saying no, but it's really critical. So, anyway, I'm prepared for a lecture. Let's go.
Well, okay, so before we just start lecturing, can I ask what would have happened if you had told her, like, "No, I'm not taking this stuff. Like, I'm not like, it needs to be, like, within the boundaries of a session. I need to take it, like, at the end of that session and do something with it. There's no time to make ongoing decisions or take a long time to make decisions." What would that conversation have looked like?
That's a great question. I think that's important to this conversation because part of what was happening was they wanted to be out of the storage unit. Like they said, we
Mhm.
don't want to pay another month.
Mhm.
And so I then said, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll get the stuff out. I'll get it taken care of because I always just get it taken care of."
Yeah.
I think that I should have just said, "I'm really sorry. I am not available. I need to dispose of these things as we go. I need another month, or I'm going to have to give you, one of my colleagues to be able to do it, or something like that." I also think that this is another flaw that I have of I'm very much I'll do it. And you know that.
Mhm.
I'll do it. I got it. I'll do it. I'll do it. And then it doesn't necessarily happen. I think that I was like, no, I'll handle it. Well, the other option could have been I could have just had the junk guy come to the storage unit. Like I wasn't using my full brain of what my options were because
Yeah.
I think was in this paralysis of I've always done this. So
Yeah.
that was definitely part of it too. But the point is
I
valid. I think
yeah.
I could have just said, sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah. Well, it's so hard to set those boundaries, especially it's easier to do it with brand new people. It's much harder to do with clients that have known you for years and you're like, "Oh yeah, I can't do that." And they're like, "But you've done it before." And you're like, "Well, we're changing. We're setting
Correct.
boundaries."
And that's a great point too, because this client, she was one of my very first clients at the start of my business, 2018, back in the early days of my
Mhm.
business. And I have been taking care of her ever since. And when I say taking care of her, like what I've ended up, the relationship we have is much more of a concierge service
Yeah.
versus organizing.
Mhm.
And again, I have set up all of this creep has happened because of me and saying,
Mhm.
"Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Uh-huh, no problem." So, I really believe that I do hear organizers a lot say, "No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not." And I don't believe that you should say no to everything, but also you can get on the slippery slope of saying yes too much too.
What are things that you've heard other organizers say that they don't do that you're like, "I would do that."
Oh, yeah, I mean, so many things. So when people come and they say, "Oh," and it's mostly, I think, of fear-based of, "I
Mhm.
don't know how to do this. I don't know the
Mm.
17 steps to do this, therefore I
Yes.
have to say no."
Yes.
So, like, I hear people say, "Oh, I would never pack anyone for a move. I would never organize a space I haven't seen. I would never, take a job more than half an hour away from me," whatever. Like, I hear a lot of I know
Yeah.
those are wildly different examples, but I hear people that will often say, "No, I'm not gonna do any of those things."
Yeah.
And I very much believe in the power of saying yes, but I also there's a middle ground.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's where my brain was going because I have had certain things like in our business that I originally say yes to. We tried consignment and we tried
Oh,
helping with garage sales. And
yep.
it only takes a little while before you're like,
Take
it
this.
sucks. I
Yes,
don't make any money. It is energy and time suck. And then you have to have that hard conversation of, yeah, we did it 2 weeks ago, but we are not doing it anymore.
correct. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I have had those conversations, like, same thing at the very beginning of my business, and again, saying no is really hard for me.
Mhm.
At the beginning of my business, I definitely took stuff to consign for people. I definitely said, "Oh, yeah, I'll put that on Facebook Marketplace for you." "Oh, yeah." And you realize the amount of time you end up spending on that, like, you think it's just little, but it
Mhm.
5 minutes here or there, or when I was doing consignment, I'm like, "I gotta go to the post office because I gotta
Yeah.
send these shoes out," or whatever, and I'm like, "This is terrible, I hate this." I
Yeah.
really hate it, and so and I do think when you say yes to people, then they automatically go, "Cool, I'm gonna try something else." Like,
Mhm.
if you said, "Yes, I'll take your whatever," well, can I take, like, that ask to the next level? And
Yeah.
I think people just get used to that.
Okay. So what would you say? What is your do you have a formula or a guideline or a something for the people who know there's boundaries being crossed or things that they're doing for their clients, but they don't know how to stop it. They don't know how to have
Love
that
it.
conversation. They don't know how to approach it. What would you tell them to do?
The funny thing is I did end up having to do that with this client. So
Mhm.
the stuff that's in my garage, which, I always say with organizing clients, it's not the stuff, it's the stuff under the stuff. So this woman's stuff wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
Me saying yes too many times and being codependent was the problem. But what I always will tell people is when you get to the point that you're really resentful of something,
Mhm.
and again, I was mad at my client because of it's not her fault, it's
Yeah.
my fault. And so I always tell people at the point at which you become really resentful of whatever the thing is that you're doing, and by the
Yeah.
way, if you're resentful of everything, like, if you're resentful that you have to, like, organize socks or whatever, just examine bigger things, right?
Yeah.
But there's something that you're doing consistently, like, for instance, beginning of my business, I used to say, "Oh, yeah, I'll take things to 12 donation places. I'll take this shirt over here, and I'll take this pair of pants over here, and all that." Y that I realized, nope, not doing
Yeah.
that anymore. And so to answer your question, I think the easiest thing to do is just be really you can be really polite and really upfront and just say, "You know what? I've had to make some changes to my process and just for timing and everything else. This is what I'm able to do. Anything above and beyond that, I would be happy to give you the resources that you need. I'll put them by the front door so that you can take them to the Dress for Success location. I'll
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like, you set them up to try to maximally get them to do it, but it doesn't mean you have to do it yourself."
Yeah. And this is like a really kind of tough. Have you ever had to like white lie to a client
Yes.
because you set the
Yes.
boundary and they just keep pushing and you're like I had one client who she always wanted to work past 5. That was my cutoff. And so I kept coming up with and they were white lies. I will, you
Yes.
know, it can be frowned upon. It's fine.
I have injury. I have
It was
surgery at
literally
5:01.
Literally, it was what I was doing to protect my
Yeah.
sanity and peace, but I would tell her, I don't have kids, but I would say, "Oh, I have to go pick up my nephew.
Yes.
He gets out at 5:30. I have to leave by 5 so that I can make it across town." And was that true? No. Was it a lie? Yes. Do I not feel guilty about it? No.
No.
That's what I needed to hold the boundary with her.
Yeah.
And while it's a lie, like sometimes you need those outs to be
Yes.
created so that you can maintain the boundary.
Yeah. I have done that a lot, and I'll be honest with you, I don't ever feel guilty about it,
Yeah.
because I just feel like if someone is kind of plowing through a boundary, I just know myself well enough to know I'm not confrontational. I have a really good friend she is very direct about a
Mhm.
lot of things, like, anything that bothers her, she is talking about it. I go, "Oh, I'm just not that person."
Yeah.
And so for me to protect myself, like, the way that I can create that boundary is by saying something that is if that person is running through it, I'm going to make up an excuse.
Yeah.
And, I really do love that phrase, "No" is a complete sentence. I love
Mhm.
it as a concept. I think for me, I find I have a really hard time not overly explaining why I'm doing something.
Well, I do think there are some people out there that I don't know if they intentionally do it or not, but there's just some people who they want what they want and they expect you
Yeah,
to jump when they say
yeah,
jump, and it's really hard to set boundaries with people because they are
yeah,
the ones that when you set that boundary, then they push a little bit harder. They push a little
yeah,
bit differently or they come at it from a new angle and you're like, "Well, crap, now I've backed myself into a corner."
yeah,
And so, yeah, literally that client I was talking about,
yeah.
I started lying to her about having to pick up my nephew, and then she was asking about Saturdays and Sundays. "Oh, no, we have a birthday party. Oh, no, we have a graduation party. Oh,
Yeah.
no, we're busy." And, it
Yeah.
was always something on my part, but I'm like, you won't respect the time I'm offering you. It never works for you, and so this is how it has to be.
This is totally random, but I do think that people have gotten into this. I feel I always say it's because of COVID, but, like, I'm blaming a lot of things on COVID. Like, some
Fair.
of them are true, some of them are probably aren't. I feel like we've reached a point where everyone's just 100% about what I need. There's not an understanding that you, a service provider, might also have a life.
Yeah.
And by the way, like, it actually bothers me, and I totally understand why you had to say it because it does happen, but when you said, "Well, I don't have kids, but I have to pick up my nephew," if you don't have kids, you're still allowed to have a life. If your
Yes.
answer is, "At 5:30, I wanna be my butt on the couch," great, that's fine, you're allowed to do that. And
But
some people don't respect that.
yeah, it's not a good enough answer, Like,
No.
it's not they're like, "Oh, you're just gonna go sit at home." Well, please don't mind that I've worked my ass off all week and this is
Yeah,
Friday. Like, that's not ever a part of the equation.
sure.
It's literally just, "I want you to be in my house organizing right now,"
Yes.
and end of story. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, it doesn't work for me anymore."
Right. Well, and same thing. I used to work Saturdays and Sundays. I used to say 7 days a week. I don't care. I'll work whenever. And I started phasing that out. And like I had one client in particular who she could only work Saturdays, and I really
Mhm.
understood that. But I just said, I can't do it. Like I am working so hard and I also need some family time and I also
Yes.
need some rest and I also have computer work to do. And I just said, I'm sorry, I'm not doing Saturdays anymore.
Mhm.
I ended up referring her out to someone else, but that I had to hold that boundary, and that was
Yes.
it. You have to decide what's good for you because the other thing that I have come to realize is, yes, the work we do, people appreciate it very much, but the people who appreciate it the most are the people that are okay if you say, "No, I'm not coming on Saturday." The
1000%.
people that say, "I need you to come on Saturday, I need you to come at 10 o'clock at night, I need you to do this," and those people, they don't appreciate the work,
No.
I find.
No. I also think, and this is important for veteran organizers who've been in the game for 10 plus years. This is important for new organizers who are like, one, I've never had to experience that. And I'm glad we're talking about it so that I know how to handle it in the future. But this bigger conversation of setting boundaries is flirting. Like we are right there on the edge of this other conversation of all these little things that happen that can burn people out really fast and really easy. And that
Yeah.
resentment that you're talking about in the garage, like you
Mhm.
add life and marriage and kids and hell, even just having to freaking cook dinner every night. Like you add all of those things
Yeah.
into your daily life in that one bag of client donate sitting there is that's the thing that's going to burn you out. That
Straw that
specific
broke the
thing.
camel's back,
Yep. Yep.
100%. And I'm very fortunate that I have an insanely patient and kind husband. But,
Same.
like, when I pulled in, like, I don't have pictures of what it looked like before we kinda sorted it all out, but it was just like there was just stuff everywhere, and I was embarrassed to open my garage door, and I was like, "Tim probably should have been like, 'Hey, can we do something about this?'" He's so chill and so nice, I don't even deserve him. But there are a lot of people for whom, like, that would become a marriage problem
Yes.
on your side. Like, we've all seen marital problems because of organizational stuff. What if the organizer has the marriage problem because they've
Yes.
got tons of client stuff or they've got, if you do consignment and it starts to take over an entire room of your house or like whatever, then
Mhm.
you have someone that might resent your business and it just causes so many more problems.
Yeah. No, I agree. And every single time, like all of this conversation of boundaries and clients pushing it, that is always it's a mental drain for me, even
Yeah.
like a social drain. And it is the reason that I completely shut down. And you won't hear from me for a week
Yeah.
because it's a suck. It's a hole in the boat. I mean, it's terrible. But I'm glad we're talking about it because I do think there's a lot of organizers, both seasoned and brand new, that they're gonna learn. They're gonna
Yeah,
learn. Either they need
absolutely.
to set the boundaries already or they need to be prepared when they do have one of those clients who may be pushing the door a little bit and they can shut it down faster or not get stuck in the, "Oh, well, we've always done it this way,"
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, and we talk about this a lot in our group, but we talk about it a lot with pricing.
Mhm.
where we say, you do not have to make a huge announcement that you're raising pricing. You do not have to send out 22 emails. You do not have to prepare people. You just raise prices. Okay. But I also think that a lot of organizers feel like, oh, if I'm making these changes, I have to like, again, make an announcement. I'm not going to do donation runs anymore or whatever. By the way, I do think donation runs are really important, but
Yeah.
I
Me
do think it
me
helps
me
clients.
also. I would like to go on record, also agree.
Donation runs, I think it's like one of the key I've had multiple clients tell me that it's like their favorite part of my business is that it just disappears at the end. I know it's a pain, know all that. I do think it's important, but you don't have to go 22 places. Or
Yes.
you can say, "Hey, I can only take one carload. You're gonna need to take the rest," whatever that looks like. But I do think it's a recipe for burnout if you do not really set the imperatives for you.
Yeah. No, I agree fully. 100%.
And I think I just really wanna tell people that, you can also just change things as you go along. Again, I've been in business for 8 years. I think it's 8, I don't know, I can't do math. Yeah, 8. And I just am like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that. Yep, not doing that. Nope, not doing that." I've created, and I'm very fortunate that I've been able to create that, right? And I
Yeah.
understand sometimes at the beginning you can't do that. I said yes to everything in the beginning, but now I'm, like, really clear on what works for me, and I
Mhm.
also am trying to recognize that a lot of this started with my own people pleasing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want people to be like, "Oh my gosh, this is so amazing. This is so nice. This is so wonderful. This is so what." I need that validation. Well, that's a personal problem.
Yeah.
That's something I need to solve somewhere else. That does not mean that I have to sub-optimize my home and my life, which is 100% with this particular client, I have definitely blurred the lines quite a bit.
I think it's easy to do. And it starts off with just literally like that one bag of donate. And then it
Tiny
turns into your whole garage, or it
Yeah.
turns into them calling you at 11 p.m. at
Yep.
night. Like it just is little things that snowball over time and you kind of start to hate yourself.
I have said I've taken a couple of breaks from organizing, and it has always been around a time when I start to get annoyed at clients,
Mhm.
and when I start to be like, "What if they have so much stuff?" I'm like,
Yes.
"It's literally my job that you have to." So, and when I start to lose some of my patience level, like, obviously, we need a lot of patience to do this job, and when I find myself slipping on, that's when I know, "Ooh, I need to take a little step back," because
Yep.
my job is to help people.
Yeah. So, I mean, I already told you, like, I'll make white lies to hold the
Yeah.
boundary. I like what you said about if you are changing things, like, you can just change them. You don't have to talk about it. The next time it comes up, if someone says, you decide, I'm not going to work Saturdays and Sundays anymore, and someone says, hey, do you have Saturday? Like, you can just tell them, we don't, but we can be here on Monday. And if you can't be here, we're happy to send you pictures. Just
Yeah.
give us the garage. Like, do you have any other very tangible tips for someone who may be struggling with setting boundaries or like navigating setting new boundaries, even with old clients?
I think that the first thing is to just be super, super honest with yourself, and you have to almost set a boundary with yourself
Yep.
that this is gonna sound dumb. You have to set a boundary with yourself that, like, "No, seriously, we're really doing this."
Hmm.
And, like, I had to get clear in my own head that this wasn't okay with me anymore. And that, there were some changes that I needed to make with this particular client. So, but I had to get clear on that internally.
Hmm.
Something again, I say a lot about pricing is I want you to be confident about your pricing. So I want you to confidently say it's $100 an hour. No, we don't do discounts. No, we don't do it. And if you go in and say, well, it's $100 an hour, but I mean, I guess I can give you a friends and family discount. And then I guess I won't charge you for this and I won't charge. If you can't confidently go in and make that statement, you need to practice until you can, and I feel like that same way about some of these boundary settings.
Yeah.
You have to be so confident that you're not going to backtrack, and you have to come up with, "What are the things I'm going to say?" Even if you have to be nerdy and, like, role play it a little bit. And
So, as you're saying this whole like role play
yeah,
comment, you match people for accountability. So you
yeah,
could role play that with your accountability partner. I've
yes,
also seen people use ChatGPT, Gemini,
yep,
some sort of AI platform where they just like type in a scenario of I have a client
yep,
who's really pushing the boundaries. Help me hold this or help me,
yeah,
phrase this nicely to where I can email them or send them a text message that
yeah.
holds that boundary and holds it firm.
And That was gonna be my next statement. That's a good segue because my next statement was going to be, I am not good. I will cave like a freaking I will fold like a house of cards or whatever the phrase is when I'm in front of someone because I have a hard time disappointing someone like face to face. I don't
Yeah.
mind disappointing someone electronically. So that I was gonna say too, like sometimes I will send a text or an email that just says, "Hey, I have a few changes that I need to make. Just want to be upfront. I'm really sorry if this is inconveniencing to you, but I have to do blah blah blah." I write it out and then I send it electronically so that they can be prepared so that I can say what I need to say and all of that. And that
Mhm.
sometimes works better for me too.
Yeah. I definitely feel like both on the sending side and as a receiver, like if someone's
Yeah.
trying to set a boundary with me, not having to do it face to face where they're reading all the micro cues and all the
Yes.
body language, we're like, okay, we can both process it for a minute and then
Yeah.
move forward from here. So,
Well, and I know that I just got done saying, and again, this is me, other people are much better at this than I am, but I know I said that I have a harder time with the no as a complete sentence, but I will also tell you there's a sweet spot of no as one word and over explaining. And so that's
mhm,
the other thing I've had to remind myself of is people don't need to hear my life story about why I'm doing or not doing something. You can just keep it simple and say, "I'm really sorry, we can't do XYZ anymore."
mhm.
Period. By the way, a great excuse you could use if you really wanted to, insurance. Our insurance doesn't let us do that.
That's a good one,
I'm really
actually.
sorry.
That's a
We just
really
we
good
wanna
one.
stay safe, we wanna make sure blah, whatever, depending on what it is. But like I said, I've had to have these discussions with myself more than I've had to have them with my client.
I think too, so like this is again, we're flirting on the edge of the conversation on burnout, but we're also talking not just boundaries, but expectations. Like
Yes, thank
you
you, that's a
don't,
great word.
yeah, you don't have to. I mean, sometimes it's not as firm as a boundary. Sometimes it
Yeah.
can just be like a new expectation of, hey, this is
Yes.
how we're doing things. And as long as you're communicating it to them, I mean, if we decided tomorrow that we weren't going to do donation pickups, like some of our clients may be really mad, but as long as we communicated it to them and said this is why, or this is why we're not doing anymore, done. If they don't want to hire us at that point, then great. We still set
Yeah.
our expectations. It's still to the standard that we want to give and work with them. So,
I like the word expectations is so much better because I think, like, boundaries it's kind of an overused buzzword, and I also think it can be used in really negative ways. I am
mhm,
setting a boundary on you, like, it's just punitive versus expectations is such a better word, especially for our business, because I know we had someone, an Inspired Organizer, who was asking a question about I can't remember exactly what it was, but she was like, "Oh, I have to send a proposal." And I was
mhm,
like, "Why do you have" or you might have asked, "Why do you have to send a proposal? Is the
yeah,
client expecting that?" And she's like, "Well, no, I just know that's what you're supposed to do." And I'm like, your client doesn't know what our process like, your
no.
client has no idea what your process is.
But
And
even if your client worked with an organizer 2 years ago over
right.
here, you can set brand new expectations for your
Yes.
business right here, right now.
I
So,
don't do proposals. I never have. I will do them in extremely limited circumstances, but if someone said, "Oh, this other organizer did blah blah blah," I would say, "Oh yeah, I do things a little differently. This is how we do things here." Just don't feel obligated to do things. And that word expectation, I think, is you can set the expectation of what it is like to work for you or
mhm,
to work with you. And that expectation also can change.
yes,
We have a million things that change every year.
yes. No,
It's
I agree.
this isn't weird. So just because you've done it 100 times doesn't mean you have to do that 101st.
It's almost like setting expectations is the building the fence, and then the
Mm,
boundary is whenever someone is, like, breaking through the fence.
yeah, I
So,
like that.
yeah, you need a little bit extra to kind of hold firm on that, so
I like that a lot.
but
Yeah,
also the fence can change, and it can be a
that's
different height, or you can paint a different color. So, like, expectations, while yes, it is you're kind of trying to protect yourself and your business, like, you can also choose to adjust and change as well.
yeah. Do you struggle with this or is it just me? Is this something that happens to you too, or am I alone?
No, I almost am kinda hesitant and scared to say this, especially because it is gonna be on the podcast, but we announced a couple months ago, "Oh, yeah, there's opportunities for one-on-one coaching," and so I had seeded that conversation in some of our, like, monthly Zoom calls and that kinda thing, and I had several people that had reached out, And it was all through Facebook Messenger, which actually is really convenient for me.
Yeah.
But I had basically told them, I was like, if you don't want to do a true like paid coaching session, you're more than welcome to send me messages here. Like I'll just get to them when I get to them. And if you want to do a Zoom call and an actual one-on-one, let's talk, let's go over, like I'll give you homework, I'll send you the recap. You can re-listen to the recording so that you can, follow up and make notes on everything. That's also an option, but it's the paid option. And so we had some people that had reached out and life was just bananas and crazy. And I'm like, you still have the option to pay and you can have my full attention. But right now, like, we're in survival mode. And so your
Yeah.
message, like, it's not happening right now. And that's just,
Yeah.
it's been hard and it's been, kind of difficult. But again, the expectation was set from the beginning. And so
Mhm.
I've left it and it's bothered me. There's been moments whenever I'm like, I need to get back to all these people, but I'm also like, we have a fabulous community. We have a fabulous Facebook group. There's a million other people who could step in to help answer questions, that kind of thing. So,
But that's another example of sometimes you may say something and then you this does happen to me quite a bit. I will say something, "Oh, yeah, oh my gosh, no problem." And I've always said I like to make things a problem for future me, and
yes.
I make a lot of problems for future me. And at the time, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I can totally do that." And then when the rubber meets the road, you're like, "Oh, I do not have time for this." And I do
Hmm.
not like I can't just respond to everything. And everybody has a lot, people have a lot of questions, right? Our
Yeah.
clients do all the things. I mean, I know I've told this story before, but one of my very good friends had a brand new client who she stopped counting when the woman had sent her 200 texts before she had even shown up for the first time. And I was like,
Yeah.
"That's a problem. Like
There's-
we cannot have that go on, right?" But
Yes.
you sometimes will say, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem. You can just text me a few things." And then that turns into 200,000 texts. And I had that recently with someone who was asking about coaching and asking about other things, and it kinda started sliding into, "Well, what should I do about this? What should I do about this? What should I do about this?" And then I'm like, "We have a community where we answer all of like, we have everything, like, nothing that you can think of is not in that group." I'm not gonna answer every
Yes.
single question that gets sent to me on a text. It's just I
We
can't do it.
don't. We do not talk about our communities near enough because you're talking about one group that has over 900 people
Yeah,
all over the world who has different experiences. You could have someone who says, this is my best lead generation, someone across the nation who has a completely different version, but
yeah,
you're getting different inputs from people who are in your same shoes. Like they
correct.
have a business, they understand the struggle, they know what it's like to take spaghetti and throw it against the wall to figure out what's going
Yeah,
to stick. And so I don't know, we don't talk about that enough. We have a fabulous community, and they
we
are
do.
sometimes people pop in the comments and they're like, "I would do this," and I was like, "Damn, that's a really
Yes,
I should
that
have
is
said that,
really
like, I should
smart.
know that."
Gosh darn it, I wish I had come up with that. I actually
Yeah,
do. I've talked about this before, and I think with you, where I'm like, "Oh, I get really like, I get my feelings hurt when someone has, like, an intensely good idea that I have never thought of, because 'cause I'm like,
yes,
"Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that?"
yes. It's a real thing, but, like, I'm grateful that we have this community for those types of situations,
Totally.
so it's also
Yeah,
good on the boundaries and the expectation side of just, how do I navigate this? I'm a brand new
yeah,
organizer, I don't know what this looks like, how do I navigate this? Sometimes they come up with fabulous verbiage for that text
yeah,
message or that email or just, how you say it and say it confidently so that people don't
yeah.
push the boundary.
The other thing too is this is a great example, like, you and I having this conversation is a great example too of, again, I'm pretty good at business. I have
Mhm.
built a very solid business. It has run my family for many years. I'm so grateful for it. I still have times, therapists have therapists, right? So
Yep.
I will sometimes come to you and be like there was something the other day that I just couldn't see the forest for the trees. I couldn't think clearly, and I send it to you and you're like, "Girl, oh my gosh, just do this." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's really smart." Right? Like, you
Yes.
need people sometimes. I don't care if you've been in business 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, like, you need that gut check. It's not when you're brand new.
Yeah.
You
No, I
actually
agree.
sometimes need it more, I think, when you are established, because then you just go, "Well, I've always done it this way, so I have to keep doing it this way."
That locks so many people into this system that may or may not be working, that could be better, could be improved upon, but there's this just weird expectation that this is just how we've always done it, so this is how we have to keep doing
We
it.
have to Yeah, we have to keep doing it, and because someone 200 weeks ago, we did it for her, we have to do it for you. No.
And I'm sure that every single organizer has had that conversation with clients as well, that they're like, "Hey, we need to move the silverware drawer because it's gonna
Yeah.
flow better." And they're like, "No, we can't move the silverware drawer. It's always been right there since we
It's
moved into
always
this
been there.
house."
The
Yeah,
coffee cups just go there. No, they
yeah.
don't. It makes no sense.
They did. They can move
Right.
if you want them to.
This is totally off subject, but it always happens in kitchens. For some reason, other parts of the house it doesn't happen to, but people are like, "Well, no, this is where the coffee cups are." And I have had this conversation so many times with clients where I'm like, "Tell me about when you moved in. Was it stressful?" "Yeah, because moving is terrible." I go, "Did you?" I go, "What I did when I moved into this house is I just told my mother-in-law, I don't care, just put things away." Well, the way my mother-in-law does things is maybe not how I want to do things. But the
Mhm.
point is, things get when you move into a kitchen, things just stay where they are. You never think about moving them.
Yep.
You never think about where the actual right place for that was. You
Yep.
are just thinking about it was midnight and I had to put some cups away.
Yep. It's always the freaking kitchen.
It's always the kitchen. Other places, they don't care. They're like, "Oh yeah, we can move the laundry room to the third floor. It doesn't matter to me." But the kitchen, moving the coffee cups,
No, absolutely not.
just suggested that they like get rid of a kid or something. Well, we just wanted to have this like quick little convo about, you know, a lot of things.
Yeah, boundaries.
Expectations. Melissa
Boundaries.
not doing things right. Cabri getting to yell at her. It's great.
For the record, I'm also not doing all the things right, so
None of us are, man. And
it's
none
fine.
are. Absolutely none of us. Anything exciting going on at Minimize Then Organize? Anything exciting going on in Pro Organizer Studio?
Man, okay, so Pro Organizer Studio, yes. And I feel like everybody probably wants this update, but I think that we have reached a point with communities and courses and just like the needs, like people are begging for more. Like they want more courses, they want more stuff for their team or for their organizers or how to manage product and inventory or where they can do more lead generation or AI, of course, is
Yes.
huge conversation, like all these different
Yes.
things. And so I think for both of us coming off of the first part of this year, just through March, like it was chaos. There was a lot of life, both like business and personal. And so one, like it feels kind of good to close that chapter because things just, I don't know, like I know it's only like yesterday, today.
Yeah.
We just closed that quarter one chapter, but things just feel good. They feel like they're fresh. But also, I know going into quarter two, we talked about this, like just clarity and streamlining. So we do it for clients all day, but then like sometimes we fail to do that in our own businesses. I'm working on it for Minimize and Organize. We're working on it for Pro Organizer Studio. Like it's only going to be good, but it is going to take a little bit of, we almost have to burn it all down to rebuild it back up
100%.
correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you really have to go to back to that blank sheet of paper. And we've been doing that on
Yes.
a lot of our things. But it's just, it's an exciting, I feel like this is going to be a good year. I don't know.
It's gonna be a fabulous year. I'm super excited.
Well, thank you as always for being I was gonna say conscience. You're not my conscience. You're just like the good angel on my shoulder telling
The good
me,
angel? Really?
yes, usually, sometimes you're not, but usually you are. Like
I
telling me
feel
all the good,
like
smart things to do.
I feel like there's another angel that, sits like on top of your head and it's the one that, "Let's go, that's me."
It's like the cheerleader angel.
Yeah, not like good or bad, just, "Let's go."
I love that. That's perfect.
Fine. It's totally fine.